Hello, once again, we're back, and if you watched last video, you should know that not much has happened. Except we found people. And so he had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs, next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly towards her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl unprepared, and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Or so he thought. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment that seemed to stretch for a very long time, they stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffling blanket. At last the girl opened her mouth. "Oh my gosh, is that you, Junpei? Jumpy? Jumpy? Jumpy." Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned. I'm just going to refer to him as Junpei for the rest of this. Akane? Can somebody please tell me I pronounced that right? Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kuroshiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years, but what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Oh, Jesus. Forgot about this. Feelings he thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker crackled to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. "Finally! Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel." With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it, a speaker set in the ceiling. "I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here." The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by a crackle of static, but Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. "Hey, asshole, what the hell is this? Come on out here, I want to get a look at you. What do you mean to do to us?" I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you I know are familiar with this game, the nunnery game. It is a game where you'll put your life on the line." Nunnery game? Oh. What the hell's that? The voice continued implacable. "The rules of the nunnery game can be found upon your persons. They are simple rules. Read them." Nunnery game? Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumpled paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. Hey, got one too. Then it would seem Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he'd been asked. On this ship, you'll find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Bracelet. Junpei figured had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave the ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. That is the time you will be given to make your escape. The voice finished and the speaker went silent. The sound of a bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. And the time was 9 o'clock. Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. It had to be nighttime. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck. The speaker went silent, did not speak again. Thank God. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. I'm surprised that Nintendo licensed this game so far. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the Nonary game? Why had he been chosen to make them part of it? Oh, okay, sorry. Why had he chosen them to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? Well, he's given us 9 hours to find an exit. I think that's pretty generous. I think someone like Jigsaw would only give you 15 minutes. And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? Well, one question was foremost in his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Great reasoning there. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Alright, so this is after the part which I've played too, so this is all new territory. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait! Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. What? Clock. Oh, geez, we've already wasted 20 minutes. Their separate investigations finished. All 9 people returned to where they left one another. The result of all their work was nothing! They were completely sealed in. I'm going to end the video soon. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they scoured the parts of the ship that they could reach. See that they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was far down as they would be able to go, however. The reason being that D deck was completely submerged. I am willing to bet that D deck has the exit. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flow seemed to have stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was as smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Perhaps the Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal a watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, the water won't rise for 9 hours. No, actually, we have 8 hours and 40 minutes. Then you're saying we won't sink till then? Well, that may be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking. I'm going to end the video now, so hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, favorite, comment, subscribe if you're ready to watch the next video. Goodbye, everybody.